Welcome to the Church of Rock Show, Episode 4, Peter Gabriel, So.
Sponsoring this episode is Nobody. If you have a product or service that you would like to advertise on the show, please contact us by either going to the website, thechurchofrockshow.com, and using the Contact Us section of the page, or you can send us an email at churchofrockshow@gmail.com, and we will see if we have a mutual fit. You can support the show by telling the music fan in your life about the show. Word of mouth goes a long way and would be greatly appreciated. If you like what you hear, consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show on Apple Podcasts. We want to get this content out to as many people as possible, and those reviews go a long way with getting the show to the top of the directories. Also hit the subscribe button to wherever you listen to your podcast to be sure that you never miss an episode.
Welcome to the 4th episode of the Church of Rock Show. Thank you so much, everybody, for the continued support that you've been showing the show. I'm really enjoying what I'm doing here and sharing the stories of all of this great music, and I really hope that you're enjoying the show as well. Now on to the show, which is Peter Gabriel's 5th album named So. So is the first album to have, and I put in quotes, a proper title. Gabriel's previous 4 albums were intentionally named simply Peter Gabriel, but fans took to nicknaming the albums based on the visuals of the album, such as Car, Scratch, and Melt. The 4 albums even went as far to use the same font for the name Peter Gabriel sticker on the album to give the albums a bit of continuity and connectivity, even though one was unique to the other. The 4th album is known as Security, and this was at the behest of Gabriel's label Geffen in the United States and Canada, as they wanted a proper title for the album to differentiate it from the previous 3. Gabriel mentioned in an interview with Rolling Stone, "In the old days, I would go through my vinyl and identify each record by the picture, not by the title. I always liked that. In some ways, I'm just a visual person. It was the idea to just do away with the titles, give the picture space to breathe, and speak for themselves. But of course, it caused confusion in the marketplace. The American record company Geffen got so fed up with me that they said they weren't going to release my 4th album unless I gave it some title. So it was called Security in America, and it had no title everywhere else in the world." Now came to the 5th album. Gabriel mentions in the same Rolling Stone interview that he wanted to give the album a sort of anti-title, something that was simple to the 2-letter word So. Gabriel wanted to give the cover art a more graphic presentation. The only compromise I made was to go with Peter Savile's idea for a retro-style portrait. I was told my usual obscure LP sleeves alienated women. The cover art is probably the most simple of any Peter Gabriel album, as it's simply a black and white photo of a serious-looking Peter Gabriel. I look at it as kind of fitting because he was asked to give the album a proper title, which he did, but there has not been any more simple album titles than that of So, aside from maybe Gabriel's So follow-up titled Us. It's kind of a middle finger move, forcing the hand of the artist to do something he may not be 100% on board with. By giving the album a title, so you get the simple artwork, but the photo of Peter Gabriel, which is cool because it gives a visual of the man Peter Gabriel, which was in the moment of time. Now let's get to the music part. The So sessions were worked over practically all of 1985, from February to December. Gabriel, who has admitted to himself, is a slow worker who is easily distracted and can be a bit of a procrastinator. There is nearly a 4-year gap in release time from Gabriel's 4th album to So. Not only do we have a laborious process of creating the album, there is a gap of time between the albums. Gabriel continues this trend after So, as his 6th album isn't released for another 6 years. The proper Peter Gabriel albums have gaps, but he works on other projects in between. In 1984, Gabriel composed and recorded the score for the film Birdie, where he works with renowned producer Daniel Lanois. Lanois during this period was producing Brian Eno's albums. Birdie does have that ambient Eno feel to it, and was invited by Eno to co-produce U2's Unforgettable Fire album, In my opinion, Daniel Lanois is the ideal partner for Peter Gabriel, as Gabriel is an artist who is looking to push the limits of the music and art and bring it all together as one. So Lanois is a branch growing off a tree of the branch of Brian Eno in some regards. Take a listen to some of Eno's albums and go into some of Eno's production, especially those Berlin era David Bowie albums, and you will see how this all fits with Peter Gabriel with his affinity for electronic music and what is called, quote, world music. I find that term so funny because it sounds so corporate. World music is essentially music with indigenous roots and ethnic music mainly originating from Africa and Latin America. I guess at the time the music companies never wanted to give this type of music. It's just due by acknowledging the roots of it, but it comes out whether they like it or not from mainstream pop artists like Peter Gabriel and Paul Simon. Now back to Daniel Lanois. Gabriel asked him to produce his next proper album, which would be So. Lanois accepts. It's a great gig for him, as So would be his first real mainstream rock pop album he would produce to his own credit, and Lanois had already accumulated a resume of production credits, but working with Peter Gabriel on his fifth album would be his biggest production gig to date. At the time, I would say this was bigger than working with U2 on Unforgettable Fire. Lanois had to know a bit of what he was getting into by working with Peter Gabriel. I'm sure the buzz was around with how Gabriel works in a slow manner and the challenges there were with keeping him on track. The first challenge for a person who is easily distracted is where to work. Where is this going to be done? Peter Gabriel had built his own studio in a barn on his property in Bath, England. It's comfortable, and it's a good thing because, hell, I do this podcast from my house, but there were times Lanois had to reel Gabriel back in. Peter Gabriel loved using his telephone, and this would cause hours of distraction. Lanois stated that he broke a few phones during the sessions just to get Gabriel back on track with the project. Lanois even went as far one time to lock Peter Gabriel in a room at the studio, nailing the door shut so he would finish what was planned. Pretty extreme stuff, but I can see where Lanois is coming from, as he has in his mind mapped out what is going to get done, how it's going to get done, and I'm sure he had to give constant updates to the record company on the status of the album. Just a lot of stuff that he had to deal with. I can only imagine an artist like Peter Gabriel, who not only procrastinates, but he's also a perfectionist. Without an accountability person, nothing would get done. Who the hell knows if Gabriel is left to his own devices? There was no telling when So would even have been completed, but I get the feeling Peter Gabriel is the type of artist who wouldn't feel the heat put on by the record executives, and he would just be like, it gets done when it gets done. And, by the way, I'm not putting a title on this thing either. The rehearsals for So commenced on May 1985, with Gabriel and Daniel Lanois along with guitarist David Rhodes. Lanois states they had a nice starting point, and in this kind of scenario, it's not a good idea to have a lot of people around because you get nervous that you're wasting other people's time. At the sessions went on bassist Tony Levin, drummer Jerry Murata, percussionist Manu Katché, who is a great artist in his own right. Check out some of his stuff. And Stuart Copeland of The Police, along with engineer and mixer Kevin Killen, were also brought in. I want to give a shout out to Tony Levin. This is a musician who has made the rounds, being sought out by some of the best artists, being a prominent fixture as the bassist for Peter Gabriel, as well as various incarnations of the prog rock giants King Crimson. Levin's work on So is so damn good. Take some time to really fixate your ears on the bass. The next piece on the studio in the recording process, I'm lifting straight from the album's wiki. The studio's basic equipment consisted of 2 analog 24-track machines, a Studer 880, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and a Studer 880 shell that had been modified by local electronics wizards with its own audio cards and transport controls. To record the vocals on a Neumann U47 tube microphone and a Decca compressor were used without equalization. All of So's songs were made in a similar format. Gabriel would record a piano demo on a modified B machine and play this to the band. And during the rehearsals, the band would listen to the B machine through the headphones and record their output onto the A machine. Parts of Gabriel's demo would also be transferred to the A machine at this stage. Subsequent takes of the song were then put onto the B machine in order for the band to hear what they had played with the demo, as well as the song's new and old takes. Are you confused yet? I know I am. To continue on, other equipment included the groundbreaking Fairlight CMI synthesizer, which Gabriel said in an interview for Billboard meant more human imagination is involved. He added, "The creative decision-making process has become more important than technique. You have a wider range of tools, a wider range of decisions." Although remaining continually inspired to produce his new music, he often struggled to write lyrics and would procrastinate. His proclivity to being dissatisfied with them required Killen to isolate certain vocal performances as the master track, in order to keep the other tracks available so new lyrics can be edited in. Peter Gabriel, he was obsessed with the running order of the tracks of the album. He created a cassette with the beginning and ends of each track to get a feel of how they should flow on the finished product. One thing he was sure of was how to close the album. He wanted it to be the track In Your Eyes. My familiarity with this album has either been through CD or a streaming service, and In Your Eyes is the closing track. The official format of the album has In Your Eyes as the opening track on side 2 of the album. In Your Eyes has a prominent bass line and had to be placed earlier on the record to allow the stylus more room to vibrate. I will talk more about In Your Eyes when I discuss the tracks later on in the show. The reception for So was well received by the album buyers and the critics. On the album charts, So peaked at number 2 in the US and number 1 in the UK. It also held those top spots in many other charts around the world. So was Peter Gabriel's first worldwide commercial achievement. Gabriel's previous albums charted well, but never reached the heights of So, which also produced a number 1 US single with Sledgehammer and another top 10 single with Big Time, along with numerous awards given to the music video for Sledgehammer. So was nominated for Album of the Year honors, losing to Paul Simon's Graceland, another phenomenal album in its own right. There is no shame in losing to anything to Graceland, so it's not a bad thing. Now here are some of the excerpts of some reviews that I was able to find during the time of So's release. So received mostly favorable reviews from music critics. John Perellis of the New York Times wrote, "Only a handful of Western rock musicians have managed to use exotic rhythms and instruments with such ingenuity and conviction." Perellis also praises vocals, describing them as grainy but not bluesy, ageless and joyless, and the voice of some ancient mariner recounting disasters. Tim Holmes, writing for Rolling Stone, described the album as a record of considerable emotional complexity and musical sophistication, and was pleased that the records would assist exposing Gabriel to mainstream pop music. Terry Atkinson of the Los Angeles Times viewed the album as offering an amazing variety of tones, moods, and topics, and a consistently powerful level of expression. Although disliking Big Time, Atkinson concludes So is a great album, possibly Gabriel's best. Steve Hochman, also of the Los Angeles Times, praised Gabriel's reinvention too, describing it as real progress, compared to the contemporaneous work of other progressive rock acts such as Genesis, GTR, and Marillion. The Village Voice's Robert Christgau didn't entirely endorse So. Gabriel's so smart. He knows rhythm is what makes music go, which relieves him of humdrum melodic responsibilities, but doesn't get him up on the one smart guys do, go for texture in a pinch. I take Christgau's reviews with a grain of salt. He comes off as a bit of a troll sometimes. If a work is great, he will take his dig at it. That was just his thing. But as I go along, I really do kind of respect what Mr. Christgau says. He holds no punches back, and he's a straight shooter. The legacy of So has been favorable over the years, as Rolling Stone ranked it number 187 on its 500 greatest albums of all time list, along with being featured on the excellent documentary series Classic Albums. At the time of recording this episode, the Classic Album series is available to stream on Amazon's Prime Video service, so go check those out. They're really good. There are countless positive retrospective reviews on, and Peter Gabriel, as the artist along with So, have been an influence on many artists to explore deeper into electronic music, go deep with their lyrics, and explore sounds from around the world. Now that's the brief history of So. Now let's get on to the tracks. Red Rain kicks off side 1 of the album. This is a really powerful and dramatic statement to kick off the album. In a Mojo magazine interview from 2013, Peter Gabriel gives his inspiration for Red Rain. Red Rain was written after a dream I'd had about the sea being parted by 2 walls. There were these glass-like figures that would screw themselves into each wall, fill up with red blood, and they'd be lowered across the sand, as it were to the next wall, where they'd unload the blood on the other side. I used to have these extremely vivid dreams that scared the hell out of me. I always associated Red Rain as a symbol for blood, and Peter Gabriel confirms this. Take a keen listen to some of the hi-hat cymbal playing on this track. That is Stuart Copeland from The Police playing, which provides an atmosphere giving a rain-like sound in the background. I have to take a close listen, and even take this in with some headphones to get it registering in my brain. It's a cool touch. Let's read the lyrics. Red rain is coming down. Red rain. Red rain is pouring down all over me. I am standing at the water's edge in my dream. I cannot make a single sound as you scream. It can't be that cold. The ground is still warm to touch. We touch. This place is so quiet, sensing that storm. And it goes into the red rain is coming down part. Well, I've seen them buried in this sheltered place in this town. They tell you that this rain can sting, and look down. There is no blood around. See no sign of pain. Hey, all, no pain. Seeing no red at all. See no rain. Now take a listen to that for a second there. It's almost kind of like we have somebody telling the people, okay, we understand we have this blood coming down from the sky, but it, just don't even pay attention to it. There's no pain going on here. You see nothing. Just go about your business. Red rain, oh. Putting the pressure on much harder now to return again and again. Just let the red rain splash you. Let the rain fall on your skin. I come to your defenses down with the trust of a child. And I can't watch anymore. No more denial. It's so hard to lay down in all of this. Red rain is coming down. Red rain. Red rain is pouring down. I'm bathing in. Such a vivid scene, and it's just so cool that Peter Gabriel can express himself and express these dreams that he's having there and share them with us. And it's always funny whenever, I mean, you can tell that there's despair going on with this song here, but there's always people that are going to be coming around to say, hey, I know what? There's nothing going on here, so just keep on moving on. Just turn your head to the tragedy that's going on around you and go about your day. The next track on the album is Sledgehammer. This is one of the earliest moments in the marriage of music and MTV where I associated a song with its iconic video. Check out the show notes page for show on churchofrockshow.com to check out the video. I'm sure most of you have seen the video, and if you are a younger person, you will look at it like it's no big deal. But for 1986, this is a huge deal. This very well can be Peter Gabriel's most accessible song to the masses. It has a nice dance groove with hints of soul and funk, coupled with the innovative music that accompanied it, and it's no doubt why this song was such a smash hit. It's fun, it's silly, and has a tremendous groove. The horn section on Sledgehammer has a 60s hit soul music vibe to it that you would hear coming out of the Stax Studios. And in fact, the Memphis Horns outfit which played on Sledgehammer, they played on many of the hits that came out of the Stax Studios, including Wilson Pickett's Midnight Hour. Gabriel does say that Otis Redding is a key influence on his art. The lyrics here are sexual in nature. Very subtle, obviously, as this song was a huge hit with heavy airplay in 1986. And of course, my 10-year-old mind didn't catch any of this. And I bet this still falls under the cracks to many unless you really read the lyrics. And if you have that type of mind to get it. Peter Gabriel stated, sometimes sex can break through barriers when other forms of communication are not working too well. This song is a perfect storm for the makings of a wildly successful single. Sledgehammer would become Peter Gabriel's first #1 single in the US, and I would also say that this is the most song for the masses. Back to the lyrics. Let's look at these and see what's going on. You can have a steam train if you just lay down your tracks.
You can have an aeroplane flying if you bring your blue sky back. All you do is call me. I'll be anything you need. You can have a Big Dipper going up and down all around the bends. You can have a bumper car bumping. This amusement never ends. I want to be your sledgehammer. Why don't you call my name? Oh, let me be your sledgehammer. This will be my testimony. Show me around your fruitcakes, 'cause I'll be your honeybee. Open up your fruitcakes, where the fruit as sweet as can be. I want to be your sledgehammer. Why don't you call my name? You better call the sledgehammer. Put your mind to rest. I'm going to be your sledgehammer. This can be my testimony. I'm your sledgehammer. Let there be no doubt about it. See, now those are just lyrics that really, when I was a kid, just really went over my head. And I think it's almost kind of like purposeful in many ways, because the groove is just so damn good with this song. It's so many times especially when you hear these pop songs on the radio, and I was more into this when I was a kid than I am now, you almost kind of ignore the lyrics in a way, and you just get so caught up in the music. It's just so good. There's nothing much more to say about it. I kick the habit, shed my skin. This is the new stuff. I go dancing in. Oh, won't you show for me? I will show for you. Show for me. I will show for you. Only you could have been coming through. Gonna build that power. Build up that power. Hey, I've been feeding the rhythm. Going to feel that power. Build in you. Absolutely tremendous stuff. You say with the lyrics, it's not the deepest stuff that Peter Gabriel's ever come up with, but it's almost kind of like he's never really had that big of a hit single leading up to Sledgehammer, and his lyrics have just always been so mindful. It's almost kind of like him just letting his hair down and just having fun with what's going on here with this, and just looking to make something that's going to really appeal to the masses. The next track on the album is Don't Give Up. Tony Levin really shines from the onset of Don't Give Up, as he plays a simple bass line which is prominent through the song. It's like climbing a hill and starting from the bottom again to climb again and again. And Peter's subtle synth playing adds a backing texture to the track. It's so simple and beautiful. It's perfect because the vocal working of Peter Gabriel and Kate Bush are so damn emotional. It's a conversation song between a man and his wife about him losing his job and her providing an uplifting support. The song really hits home for me personally, as I've been a person who's been caught up in a job downsizing and shown the door and not knowing what was waiting for me on the other side. And having the support of my wife helping me get through and making sure I was grounded and cheering me up when I needed a boost. At the time Peter Gabriel wrote Don't Give Up, England was going through an unemployment crisis. And this shows how aware Peter Gabriel has always been with the major issues outside of his world. Peter Gabriel was also influenced by the famous Dust Bowl photo of the woman with the two children with their heads buried in her shoulders as she looks on with despair and uncertainty, trying to keep it all together for her family. Even though things like unemployment, apartheid, etc. don't affect Peter Gabriel directly, he immerses himself in these topics and provides color with the lyrics, and it comes from a genuine place. Please go to the show notes for so on thechurchofrockshow.com. Actually, that would just be churchofrockshow.com. I gotta get rid of that "the" on there. To check out the official music video for Don't Give Up. It's a beautiful and touching performance, both by Peter Gabriel and Kate Bush. Another fun fact is, Peter Gabriel wanted Dolly Parton to sing the Kate Bush parts originally, but Dolly turned down the offer. I would say it all worked out just fine, and Kate Bush's performance feels so real and is tremendous. Let's look at these lyrics. It's some of Peter Gabriel's finest work, in my opinion. In this proud land, we grew up strong. We were wanted all along. I was taught to fight, taught to win. I never thought I could fail. No fight left, or so it seems. I am a man whose dreams have all deserted. I've changed my name, I've changed my face, but no one wants you when you lose. Don't give up, 'cause you have friends. Don't give up, you're not beaten yet. Don't give up, I know you can make it good. Though I saw it all around, never thought I could be affected. Thought that we'd be the last to go. It is so strange the way things turn. Drove the night toward my home, the place that I was born, on the lakeside. As daylight broke, I saw the earth. The trees had burned down to the ground. Don't give up. You still have us. Don't give up. We don't need much of anything. Don't give up, 'cause somewhere there's a place where we belong. Rest your head. You worry too much. It's going to be all right. When times get rough, you can fall back on us. Don't give up. Please don't give up. Got to walk out of here. I can't take any more. Going to stand on that bridge. Keep my eyes down below. Whatever may come and whatever may go, that river's flowing. Moved on to another town. Tried hard to settle down. For every job, so many men no one needs. Don't give up, 'cause you have friends. Don't give up. You're not the only one. Don't give up. No reason to be ashamed. Don't give up. You still have us. Don't give up. We're proud of who you are. Don't give up. You know it's never been easy. Don't give up, 'cause I believe there's a place. There's a place where we belong. Oof. That's some heavy stuff. And unfortunately for me, it really hits home. It's been a long time since I did lose a job, but it's something that always affects me, and it's something that's never gone away. And if you ever encounter anybody that goes through that, definitely just be a support system for them, because don't give up. It just gives you everything. And as I've gone through the research on this, I've found that don't give up has just been an inspiration to so many people. And that's even going outside of people who have lost their jobs. I found that many people who have contemplated suicide or doing tremendous harm to themselves, they'll put on Don't Give Up, and it just takes them to another place and gives them hope. It's so powerful. It's tremendous. And as I said before, it's some of Peter Gabriel's best work. The next track is That Voice Again. I want to jump right into these lyrics, as they're so powerful, as they are talking about an inner struggle the writer is having within a relationship and the judgments they're having. I want to be with you. I want to be clear. But each time I try, it's the voice I hear. I hear that voice again. I'm listening to the conversation, judge and jury in my head. It's coloring everything. All we did and said. And still, I heed that sharp tongue talking. Actually, I still heed that sharp tongue talking. You see, I don't edit this stuff. Talking tangled words. I can sense the danger. Just listen to the wind. I want you close. I want you near. But I can't help but listen. But I don't want to hear that voice again. This really gets me, because I feel we're all guilty one time or the other, that we're told we hear something, but we don't listen and internalize the words. This is the opposite. The writer is an internalized person who is really in their mind. And he knows what's going on. And they don't want to hear it again. They know the score. I want to be with you. I want to be clear. But each time I try, it's the voice I hear. I hear that voice again. I'm hearing right and wrong so clearly. There must be more than this. It's only an uncertainty that we're naked and alive. Now that is, just think about that. There's all this uncertainty, and the only thing that we really can bank on every day is we're naked and we're alive. We have our clothes, obviously, and it covers ourselves up. But when you're talking about the permanence, the permanence is our naked body within the time that we're alive. I hear it through a rattle of a streetcar. Hear it through the things you said. I can get so scared. Listen to the wind. I want you close. I want you near. I can't help but listen, but I don't want to hear that voice again. What I carry in my heart brings us so close or so far apart. Only love can make love. Again, we're talking about the writer internalizing things. He puts everything in his heart. And he takes everything to heart. He takes everything very literal. And what he feels brings a closeness to his partner, but then also what's in his mind and what's in his gut also drives them apart. Only love can make love. So you need to have it in order to make it. I want you close. I want you near. I can't help but listen, but I don't want to hear. I hear that voice again. I want to be with you. I want to be clear. But each time I try, it's the voice I hear. I hear that voice again. And see, now there it is. It's when you're an internalized person, it's the repetitiveness of that voice that you hear. It just seems like it never, ever goes away. And can't you tell that I'm an internalized person? That's just something that I'm just kind of like almost repeating. This part here is that you hear that voice again. It's again, and again, but it's kind of like what you always do with it, and is what makes it count. And that closes side 1 of So. Now on to side 2. I'm going to stick with the original running order of the album by going into In Your Eyes. In Your Eyes is one of the more well-known tracks off of So. A lot of it has to do with the use of the track in the 1989 film Say Anything, in the iconic film scene where John Cusack, holding a boombox over his head with In Your Eyes playing, totally an 80s visual, which in my opinion makes it so damn cool. I will admit, as a kid, this is where In Your Eyes gets its wider exposure to me, as I did not own the album upon its release, nor during the time of Say Anything in 1989. What can you really say about the song? It's that it's tremendously great. It's a great love song, and it's ever been written. And I have heard that Gabriel wrote the song for Rosanna Arquette, but Gabriel stated that the song is more open to interpretation, either the love between a man and a woman, or a relationship between a person and God. There was something heavy going on with Peter Gabriel when he wrote In Your Eyes, because he was hesitant to have In Your Eyes to be included in Say Anything, as he felt the song was way too personal to allow another piece of art to use as the backdrop for a dramatic scene. In the end, he allowed the use for the song to be used in the film for a reported tune of $200,000. A shining star on this track is the vocals sung by Yuso Indoor. In my opinion, this song doesn't have the same power and impact without Indoor. The track has that real world music feel to it, and the singing of the lyrics by Indoor in the native Wolof language is fantastic. I have no idea the translation, and I really don't care to look into it because it's something I just leave to the emotion and the feeling, and that's all I need. Let's jump into these lyrics a bit. Love, I get so lost sometimes. Days pass and the emptiness fills my heart. When I want to run away, I drive off in my car. But whichever way I go, I come back to the place you are. All my instincts, they return. In the grand facade, so soon it will burn. Without a noise, without my pride, I reach out from the inside. In your eyes, the light, the heat. In your eyes, I am complete. In your eyes, I see the doorway to 1,000 churches. In your eyes, the resolution of all the fruitless searches. In your eyes, I see the light and the heat. In your eyes. Oh, I want to be that complete. I want to touch the light, the heat I see in your eyes. Love, I don't like to see so much pain, so much wasted, and this moment keeps slipping away. I get so tired of working so hard for our survival. I look to the time with you to keep me awake and alive. And then it goes into the chorus again. Absolutely powerful stuff there. And I just look at that last part there where with the love, he doesn't like to see so much pain, because at that point when he's writing this song here, he's going through a breakup. So he does feel the love for his partner still, but there's a lot of pain that goes along with that, and it's just at a very difficult time that he's going through. And he says, I get so tired working so hard for our survival. Is like he's putting a lot of effort into keeping the relationship going, but then it's just not working out in the end. So it's just, he feels like there's just like no reason to even go on any further with the relationship. Kind of sad stuff. All right, the next track is Mercy Street. This track was inspired by American poet Anne Sexton, specifically her poem 45 Mercy, which I have provided a link to in the show notes page for the So podcast on thechurchofrockshow.com. Anne Sexton suffered from bipolar. She lived with the illness for 20 years after her diagnosis, and unfortunately her life ended tragically in 1974 when she took her own life. Let's look at these lyrics. Looking down on empty streets, all she can see are the dreams all made solid, are the dreams all made real. All of the buildings, all of the cars were once a dream in somebody's head. She pictures the broken glass. She pictures the steam. She pictures a soul with no leak at the seam. Let's take the boat out. Wait until darkness. Let's take the boat out. Wait until darkness comes. Nowhere in the corridors the pale and green. Nowhere in the suburbs. In the cold light of day, there's a midst so alive and so alone. Words support like bone, dreaming of Mercy Street. Wear your inside out, dreaming of Mercy Street. In your daddy's arms again, dreaming of Mercy Street. Swear they moved the stat sign, dreaming of mercy. In your daddy's arms. Pulling out the papers from the drawers that slide so smooth. Tugging at the darkness, word upon word. Yeah, this was one of those tracks that I definitely learned something from, because I never knew anything about Anne Sexton, and I went ahead and looked more into what was going on with her, and unfortunately she definitely lived a very depressed and tragic existence, which in the end she took her own life. It's really sad, but this is one of those times when you take a look at music and it opens up other pieces of art and opens other pieces of history, and Peter Gabriel does a great job with Mercy Street in doing that. The next track is Big Time. I find this song to be absolutely brilliant. It's so matter-of-fact in the way that Peter Gabriel paints a picture of someone who is from meager beginnings and has aspirations to do something not just bigger, but something that would be considered outside the norm from those where he comes from. It's about having dreams and goals and aspirations and working towards making them a reality. I would at times think the song was about boastfulness and mockery, like it's Peter Gabriel saying, look at me. Everything I do now is a big party to a big God, kneeling in a big church, attending the biggest parties, the big with the most comfortable pillow. I feel most Peter Gabriel fans like myself still see Peter Gabriel as sort of an avant-garde artist in the pop world who would turn his nose up to being big time. I feel this song is more of an observation than anything. Nothing too boastful. I find it to be comedic in a way. And the music video is goofy, but well done and fits the song very well. Let's jump in these lyrics. I'm on my way. I'm making it. I've got to make it show, yeah. So much larger than life. I'm going to watch it growing. The place where I come from is a small town. They think so small. They use small words. But not me. I'm smarter than that. I worked it out. I've been stretching my mouth to let those big words come right out. Now that one there, you could say that it sounds a little bit arrogant, that piece right there. But I really don't see it that way. He talks about his town being small, people using small words. I think it's just more or less people living a more simpler life. And he doesn't want to live that life. Then he goes into, I'm smarter than that. That can be a bit boastful, and that can be a little bit snooty in a lot of ways. But that's Peter Gabriel having confidence in himself. And he's a really mindful and smart dude, and his songwriting really shows that. Let's continue on. I've had enough. I'm getting out to the city, the big city. I'll be a big noise with all the big boys. There's so much stuff I will own. I will pray to a big God and kneel in the big church. Big time. I'm on my way. I'm making it. Big time. I got to show it. I got to make it show, yeah. Big time, so much larger in life. I'm going to watch it growing. And then it goes into My parties have all the big names, and I greet them with the widest smile. Tell them how my life is one big adventure. And always they're amazed when I show them round my house to my bed. I had it made like a mountain range, a snow white pillow for my big fat head. And my heaven will be a big heaven. And I'll walk through the front door. Good stuff, man. This is really, really cool. And yeah, he's kind of like, yeah, I've made it here, and I'm around all these big people and have all these parties. But part of me almost kind of seems like, did Peter Gabriel really have all these big parties? He doesn't seem like that type of guy. Seemed like, yeah, he had a nice property and everything in the countryside in England, but I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he had to go to a lot of big parties, but I don't really think that this guy was going out of his way to host this stuff here. So, and then at the end there, it goes into the big time chorus, and he goes, "My car's getting bigger, my house getting bigger, my eyes getting bigger, and my mouth, my belly getting bigger, and my bank account. Look at my circumstance and the bulge in my big, 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 big." I mean, that, like right there, I mean, he's talking about all this material stuff that just keeps getting bigger. And like, I don't know, even really know that, like, is that something that he's really happy about? And then he goes into his bulge being big, big, big. I mean, I'm sure he's probably like, yeah, the bulge in my wallet is getting big, big, big. But you know what? Again, it's open to interpretation. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. All right, now we're going to go on to the next track, is We Do What We're Told, Milgram's 37. This closes the official release of the album. The music on this sounds like something off of Peter Gabriel's third album. I can easily see it slide on that album, and in many ways it would fit more than it would on So. There's a darkness to the music, and in my opinion, there is darkness involved with the inspiration for the track, which involved an electric shock experiment by Stanley Milgram from Yale University. The shocks administered to the subjects were not real and were actors, but the experimenters were the people administering the shocks, and they had to shock the person if they answered a question incorrectly. And they would continue to do so even if the person was being shocked was apparently in distress. There were 40 people involved with the experiment who gave out the shocks, and 37 of them administered the maximum amount of shocks, thus the name Milgram's 37. It all makes sense with the lyrics being repeated on the track. We do what we're told to do. The story is really fascinating to me, being a sociology major, and how people will follow to blind will if told to do so, whether it be the government, an employer, a coach, etc. It puts the notion of free will into perspective as to how much free will societies actually have, even those in the most free and democratic sense. And it opens up a door to what communities that live in a dictatorship situations and how they act. I am not a fan of this track closing out the album, as it's not what Peter Gabriel wanted, but the limits on the vinyl caused the track to close out the album. In Your Eyes is how I always known to close the album, and in my opinion, it works best because it leaves me not wanting for anything more. It's a perfect ending. We Do What We're Told feels like there should be more after it. Maybe how my mind is programmed to listen to So. I have listened to So with the original vinyl track listing, and I prefer what we have today. And that includes another track between We Do What We're Told to Do and In Your Eyes called This Is the Picture, Excellent Birds, which Peter Gabriel wrote with Laurie Anderson. And I have the lyrics to that track also. It's called Flying Birds, Excellent Birds, Watch Them Fly, There They Go, Falling Snow, Excellent Snow, Here It Comes, Watch It Fall. Just a beautiful natural visual going on there. Long words, excellent words. I can hear them now. This is the picture. This is the picture. I'm sitting by the window watching the snowfall. I'm looking out and I'm moving, turning time, catching up, moving in, jump up. I can land on my feet. Look out. This is the picture. This is the picture. Looking out, watching out. When I see the future, I close my eyes. I can see it now. I see pictures of people rising up, pictures of people falling down. I see pictures of people. They're standing on their heads. They're ready. They're looking out. Look out. They're watching. Out. Watch out. They're looking out. Look out. They're watching out. Watch out. I see pictures of people. I see pictures of people. And that closes the lyrics portion of the show. Now on to my personal thoughts and feelings in my story of So. I hold So in high regard as I'm a huge Peter Gabriel fan. This is something that has grown on me as I grow older, and I feel more of a connection to Peter Gabriel and his music, being a person who has the desire to share more of a creative side that I never really have done in the past. I have always been aware of Peter Gabriel since the time that So was released, as the Sledgehammer and Big Time videos were in heavy rotation on MTV when I was a kid. This is going back to when I was 10 years old. Even though So is the most accessible Peter Gabriel album in his catalog, I never found a pressing need to own the album in my collection. I started to really get into Peter Gabriel and his work more into my late 20s. As I was starting to explore his work with Genesis, acquiring all those albums, then I moved more into his solo work, where my priority led more to diving into the more artsy stuff, and I put that in quotes, which were the first 4 albums. I think I tend to have a mental block when it comes to artists' commercially popular works, as I have the same conflict with Genesis. If you give me a choice to listen to Foxtrot or Invisible Touch, I will always pick Foxtrot. Same thing with Peter Gabriel. If you give me the choice between Peter Gabriel's 3rd album, the Melt album, or So, I'll always pick Melt. One of the goals of this podcast is not only to curate a history of these great albums, to entertain all of you, and to give me an opportunity to learn more about an album or an artist, and to form a more clear perspective on the work and learn something new. In my mind, I always thought that So was more of an answer Peter Gabriel was giving to his former band Genesis, saying, I can do the commercial stuff too. Here's my go at it. This is completely false. So is a continuation of the art and the artist of Peter Gabriel. He worked at the same methodical pace like he always did. He had the same hang-ups with the record company with the naming of his album. He had the same butting heads moments with the producer of the album wanting to hustle a little bit more. There was no intention to create hits or an award-winning music video. This all just happened organically. Sledgehammer is not a sellout track by any means. It has everything you would want in a great pop song. It's fun, it's easy to digest the lyrics, and it has a great groove to it. But Peter Gabriel's fondness for American R&B music is all over the track. And the innuendo involved with the lyrics, buried in a subtle way, is still very avant-garde in my opinion. So still has those moments of art and emotion that are intense and dramatic. This is an instance where my view of an album has changed through this project, and there's no reason to think any less of the album, just because it was a commercial success. Thank you again for joining me for another episode of the Church of Rock Show. I appreciate you for sticking with me while I work through each episode. Please subscribe to the show wherever you listen to your podcasts. The show is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and Podbean, and on the show notes page of the website. If there is another platform you use to share, please let me know, and I'll work on getting the show there too. The audio version of the show is now available on YouTube. At this time, do a Church of the Rock Show to find the page and to show, as the show hasn't reached its YouTube minimums to give the page a proper web address. So please like the page so we can get those numbers up and accomplish this. Share the show with a friend. Word of mouth goes a long way to grow the show. Visit the show at churchofrockshow.com and check out the show notes underneath the podcast section of the site for bonus material such as videos, photos, and direct links to listen to the albums on Spotify and Apple Music. Also check us out on social media, on Facebook and Instagram at Church of Rock Show. Use the comments section of the Facebook page to comment about the show and to share your feedback of your story about the albums. And on Instagram, I will often share what I'm currently listening to, and if there's any cool pictures I see from music history, I'll add them there too. And I'm also on Twitter at Church of Rock 75. And special thanks to Hyde for providing the theme music for the Church of Rock Show. And check out and support his work at soundcloud.com/David Hyde Music. Until next time, I will catch you again for another episode of the Church of Rock Show.